I am Tony Bellew and you are watching Toffee TV.
Welcome to Toffee TV with me, Ped, Baz, and we're joined by Ex Everton and England. Only one cap, but you can say and England. It's more than I'm ever going to get, isn't it? Michael Ball's here on the show with us. Brilliant to have you on the show, Mike.
Thank you.
It's the final word. Everton 4, Aston Villa 0. Very comprehensive victory on Saturday, and it's fantastic to see.
It was, yeah. You know, it's what we've been probably searching for, all season. Every game this season, we've always had a negative perspective on some part of our game. Sunderland game, good going forward, but they had so many chances. So Saturday's game was perfect going forward and perfect defensively, clean sheet. You know, the only time we've had a clean sheet is when it's been the goalless draws this season. So it was nice to see us, the flair going forward, but as a defensive-minded player, it was good to see that we had no problems at the back.
Defenders always say that, don't they?
You've got it.
Where's Alan Anson?
I was like the strikers crying if you win 3-0, they don't score them own, don't they? So we're the same.
Yeah. We were worried, weren't we, Baz? Because we thought another team's going to try and come. They'd obviously got the point against Manchester City. We thought these are going to come, but the way they set up was just it was. I mean, there's been negative. But they weren't even negative. They literally thought they could play without a striker for 90 minutes and try and get a point.
You're right. The way we thought we were going to set up, they were probably got a bit of confidence from the City game. But if you look at the City game, City should have ran riot really. So they held out there, but they would have got confidence from their new manager coming in. The players need to impress the new manager. He's put his new style to it. So we were expecting them to be, very organised and very hard to break down, which sometimes I've struggled. Yeah. Teams, especially at Goodison Park, sitting back. So they were sort of, you could see that for the first probably 5-10 minutes of the game, Villa were a bit organised, but as you said, they had no attacking threat. And then as soon as we opened them up, their heads just went down. They just looked dejected, and as you said, I think they just wanted to get off the pitch soon as possible.
Some of them looked like that.
And our lads, I think you can tell the way, it was good football. It was positive football. It was effective, and it was all one touch, two touch. And our lads just got more confidence, and you could see and you could smell their fear, and we just rolled over, and really with a pretty easy performance.
It is good to watch though, Baz, isn't it? At the moment, like Sunderland game we thought we'd struggle. Again, same factor, but Saturday I thought some of the football was brilliant.
Yeah, they were strange playing with our centre forward, because you think you're down there at the bottom. I think I'd have gone with Steady, or whatever you say his name, up and just gone long really and tried to take the pressure off. But I think the good thing about Everton this season, as opposed to last season, is because they've got the likes of Delafeu in there, you can open you up. That kind of attacking threat is there, and when we get it down and we pop it round quickly, a lot of teams will struggle with us, certainly at Goodison. And the big thing for us now is trying to mirror that away from home as well, because at home, we're more than a match for anyone. And I think, like Michael said, once we got the first goal, I think they just wanted to get on that coach, didn't they? Back to
I liked where Delafeu, I've always had when he starts, I don't think we seem to get the best out of him when he started, but the Villa game, the notion he was his heels were on the touchline.
Yeah.
He was trying to give himself more space, which I think other games he's probably been going inside, searching for the ball. It's been a bit compact, and when his touch sort of lets him down a little bit, his head goes down, the Derby game a little bit and stuff like that. So I think his confidence when he's been away with the national side, scoring all the time, his game at the moment, the last month or so, was, he's gone to another level. So he's brought that to us, and I think he's found a way to create more space for himself, and then he's running at someone. That's what a good thing about with Lukaku up front. He's probably being frustrated a lot. Probably last season not getting a service. He's been coming short and probably not the best at doing that. Yeah. But because of his ability, he feels like he's got to come a little bit shorter to get the ball to start something off. Now he knows we've got players who's going to feed him the ball, so he can concentrate on what he's actually really good at. And every time Delafeu gets the ball, the Kone and Lukaku are making the runs and putting it away.
Because something I've mentioned before was in his first season with us, I always felt like, I've said this before, I always felt like you could tell he was a player on loan. who was just trying to play well, get fit, and go back to his club. But this season, because he's sort of signed for, isn't it? That deal's weird, but you know, he is an Everton player, and you can tell that he does want to get his feet under the, you know, and make sure that he's winning games for us. And he's, you know, as you say, you know, we sat here after the Derby game, and we know he didn't play well in the Derby game, but we couldn't believe that he'd been taken off, because you know he's going to do something. It's
a catch-22. There's different managers, different styles, where some manager will keep him on and go, he will do something. You know, we've got to give him the chance. He's got that. He's the type of player who's got that extra ability to pull something out the bag, which you've got to have a lot of patience with at times. That's, you know, which is good for us. We've got these type of players now. We've got our team going forward. We have got very top quality players, and we've got the experience and the confidence now to play players like him. And if he's not having the best of games, to leave him on. But then the Derby day, I do understand why he got took off as well. I can see both sides of that argument.
You're always, I mean, definitely in the last month or that, he's definitely feel like he's always got something. He's, you know, they didn't necessarily proper assists on Saturday, but he's in the link-up play, and I think that's been missing since Pienaar basically went out the team. You know, Pienaar wasn't always the person who always assisted, but he was always like the person. He was the person who passed to Baines, and Baines would be the assist player. And he's always got that.
That's what I liked about nearly every goal. There was a proper team goal. Obviously starting from John at the back, but you know James probably hasn't had the best season. I think last season was probably one of our best players, but you know, the Villa game, I thought he was back to his best again, and you know, he didn't get mentioned. You know, when I see all the goals on the TV, he didn't get mentioned, but his little awareness to find them before he put the cross in. You know, like a nice little flick out wide. You know, it sort of got overlooked like a little pass, but it wasn't. He was driving through, you know, getting confidence going forward. He needs to add more goals to his game.
But you don't mind him if he's not scoring, though. When
if he's setting up stuff like that and being part of the play with the say the link-up players, if you say of Barkley, Delafeu and Coney, he's getting himself involved in the play. It's good to watch.
For me, Gareth Barry this season has been. I mean, last season just too many games, and obviously we all get older and we all got a bit slower. And last year, I think it caught up with him, and people were probably writing him off, saying he's done now. That's it. He shouldn't be in there. Because we're back to one game a week this year, for me, he's been fantastic. And on Saturday, he just dictated the whole game for me, and that enabled McCarthy to go on that extra.
I think that's happened a lot this season. James has started pushing forward a little bit more, because you know Gareth has been, you know, assured, sitting there protecting the back four himself and starting to play. And you know, it's very easy when you get older and you don't have the best of games. That's the first thing that's going to get thrown down. You know, the fans are going to jump on. You got to go. People do have bad games every so often, or quieter games. You know, but Gareth, you know, he's done it all. You know, he's done everything there is in the game. So he's experienced enough to get onto it. So he's, you know, his performances this season, you know, have been spot on, and we use them correctly. As you say, with the one game a week.
But even I suppose from a tactical point of view as well, I mean, we've sat here and we've been a bit critical, saying, well, why are we playing two holding midfielders at home? Even on Saturday, I was thinking, why are we doing... But what I've noticed in the last two games is, those two are effectively just doing that holding job, and it allows the four in front of them to just do whatever they want and go wherever they want. And I also think Ross is a big part of that, because I think Ross recently is becoming more of an all-round midfielder, rather than this... it all hanging on Ross Barkley. I think that's the weight's been taken off him, especially from Gerard Delafeu. He's becoming a better all-round player, but I think those two holding recently is just allowing everyone else to play football.
You're spot on it. There's two reasons why we're playing the two holding ones. If you look at probably every goal, the Villa game, our two full-backs are in their box.
Yeah.
So, you know, if it wasn't Barkley tapping it in, Galloway would have put it in. You know, and Coleman was... I think he was off the pitch.
Yeah,
you know, so
for Lukaku,
that's why we're sitting there, and it gives, you know, John Stones to push out to the right, and they're just sitting there protecting. Because at the end of the day, you still got four players, Mark, on one striker.
Yeah.
So we're still, you know, we're still fine with that. You know, but also with Ross is, he gets frustrated. I think the pressure has been on his shoulders, and he gets frustrated. He wants to do everything. He wants to put his stamp on the game, and with the class of players like Delafeu alongside him, that has come off his shoulder. He can trust other players with the ball, and that's bringing the best out of Ross.
Yeah.
I think for me as well, with last season, I think the way like Martinez's first season, when you had Barry and McCarthy just done that job, he just won it, and McCarthy was motored, and because we did have Delafeu and Morales was playing well at the time, and Lukaku and that. Last year, it was a mess. It was a mess, and I don't think the manager knew what his best 11 were. The makeup of the side wasn't right, and then what happened was Gareth Barry wasn't doing as well as he had done. James McCarthy was trying to become a different type of midfielder.
He also wasn't fit a lot of last season, McCarthy.
And McCarthy was fit, and we didn't have the players in the wide. Morales went off the boil, didn't he, and spat his dummy out and missed penalties when he shouldn't have been taking them and things like that. And we had nothing really on the right until Lennon came in. This year, it feels like the first season again that Martinez was here, just because obviously because Delafeu's back.
Been a lot more organised. They are a lot more organised, and I think they look like they know the jobs. Yeah. As you said before, you're spot on. The lads know what they need to do. They've got the freedom to go and express themselves when they get into the final third, but they've all got their own jobs to do, and I think that they're all sticking to it, they're helping each other out. And what I like to see is when you lose the ball or you try and do something, the communication and getting back into shape has been a lot smoother than last season. That's been a very good positive point for this season.
But talking about that, I mean, that's something we talk about a lot of the time. It's balance of the side, and the side does look balanced at the moment. As you say, you've got two protectors protecting the fullbacks to get forward. Kone can come inside. Delafeu at times looks like a proper number 10 rather than a winger, and it just feels like at the moment there is a balance. But it's strange because if you look at the team at the start of the season and what it is now with Kone out left and Delafeu out right. You just wouldn't have. I don't think anyone would have picked that side the way it is.
Yeah, I can see the point, but if you look at our bench now, Morella's come on, he hasn't had the best of the season, and he was trying to make an impact straight away, and that's what you want. He knows he's not in the team because the lads in front of him are playing well. So there's no hiding place in the Premier League anymore. So he can't spit his dummy out. And he put his hand up and goes, right, when I get the opportunity, I need to impress. And that's what his downfall was when he got sent off. He was trying to be too keen and trying to impress and put his stamp on, and he sort of just went over the level a bit too much.
Literally did put his stamp on.
But that's what you want. You want that kind of reaction.
And that's without, Lennon. People, if anyone who watched him at the end of last season would have said, well, he'll be a nailed-on starter. Well, he doesn't even come off the bench.
You've got Cleverley to come
Cleverley's coming back. You've got, under 21 game, Baines and Bessage played centre midfield. I don't know if that means anything for Baines, but they're in there. You've got players.
Jags to come back.
You've got Jags to come back. You've got players like we were talking about before. This time last year we were going to Wolfsburg, and that team had like McGibbon in it. McGeady can't get a look in now. He was in the team, you had Hibbert in the team then. Garbett was playing. This was against the top team in Europe, and now the team looks completely different. And you think there is that depth there, and especially this time of year now. We were looking at last year, we were going into Christmas, but this year now it looks like there's plenty in reserve and plenty of options.
I think the thing as well, the big thing with Coney being out left, I think away from home, I'm still not convinced it works away from home with Coney out there. Seeing at West Ham, he was ineffective really.
But there was no protection,
there was no protection, and I think so. I don't know whether you do this, but for me, there's a case for having like Cleverley away from home with Coney Arrow. Do you know what I mean? But I think Rom looks a lot happier when Coney's in the side, because what he was doing again on Saturday. I think earlier in the season, he was trying to stick out wide. And I know you were talking, Michael, before about him working hard and getting up and down, which he does try and do. But I think what he's done lately is he's made sure he's got himself almost alongside Lukaku, and that's freed Rom up for a little bit more space, and he looks happier.
We've always been frustrated at Rom when he's been trying to hold the ball up, but a lot of the time he's been isolated. And he's had, even the Derby game, he bullied them, but he was bullying three players. So he needed that sort of involvement of players coming to help him, and as you said, I think Coney brings that to him. But what I like about this season is probably the manager. He's come up to a bit of stick, But I think people have said he's stubborn in the way he wants to play, but I think he showed this season that we're not playing long ball, but we're willing to stretch it.
Yeah.
And that's brought a lot out of Rom. It's brought the best out of him because, yes, it's old school, not put it in the mix, or put it behind him, because you want Rom to be running that way, and that's what he's good at, because no one's going to stop him going that way, and it's up to him to put it in the net, which he's doing. But that's given space, and it's given, obviously, the opposition to think about how we're going to set up and play. Because, yes, we're good at keeping possession, and sometimes it's our own downfall because we keep it in the wrong areas at the wrong times, and teams try to capitalise on that. But when we do stretch it, it gives the chance of Gareth Barry to start having that space to control and dictate the midfield. And when that happens, Ross then has got a field day.
You know, look at the first goal and the fourth goal. I mean, it was all great passes, but it was so quick. It was 1-2 touch. Exactly. Whereas beforehand, as you mentioned there, it was all, I mean, especially last season, it was left back to right back, and it was like every player. It was like a training exercise. Every player had to touch the ball. But those first and fourth goals on Saturday showed that you can do it. If you do fast, no one's going to... I seen Sid Lowe tweeting today, and he watches Barcelona every week, and he went, he tweeted and said, I've just seen the Everton goals. It felt like I was watching them on fast forward.
That's what I was hoping to see on goals on Sunday and stuff. It was like, where's the credit?
Yeah.
Because if that was Barcelona, they would have been talking about it, for
for
hours and hours.
Credit for Everton.
Yeah.
Are you messing?
So we've got to try, haven't we? We've got to bring it out.
So this is why we have this. This is why we have this show.
It's good. It's that's what we've been crying about, and I'm crying for the team to do. They have got the ability to do it, and maybe it's been a little bit braver to do that 1 touch and 2 touch, because you don't sometimes, if the crowd aren't. It's just, if the game starts slow, the crowd's a bit airy, and you do sort of try and do a little 1 touch pass and it doesn't come off. It's sort of, I can see that side of the players, but just be a bit braver, and which Ross is. He is so brave. He wants the ball all the time, and that sometimes is wrong. But he can't knock his attitude to get the ball to let's get something going. And as you said, every goal in the Villa game was all crisp passing, 1 touch round the corner and through, and we split teams apart like that. And I like possession football. I understand why you do it. Like sometimes the fans need to be a little bit more patient, but when we do the goals against Villa, and then some performances we are so slow, I can understand the frustration, and you're trying to keep the football to frustrate the other team, to frustrate them, to make them make a mistake. And if you've got to get one of them midfielders to go and chase the ball and then pass it round, and you broke the lines and you're through. That's what you're waiting for.
It was a nice mix as well.
It's nice to do it. I like possession football for the purpose.
There was a nice mix as well, I thought, Saturday, because there wasn't just like there was obviously a goal from a cross as well, but it was nice to see Ross getting tap-ins, being that in that Kale position, the Gary Speed, the Don Hutchinson kind of players that you played with. They were always there when there was a knockdown. It was boss to see Ross just in there, because you don't have that enough. We've said it loads of times on the show. We don't have enough midfielders who run past the striker, and that's probably because Rom does get isolated so much that the gap is so big. True. So it was nice to see that on Saturday.
You can't run past someone.
Who's 20 I don't think you can run past Rom
by the time you get up to him, he's got 4 men now. I think we've seen against Sunderland as well, Delafeu's goal. Couple of quick passes, Coney pops it over the top, and because they were so high, Delafeu's in behind him, cuts inside, and you win him 1-0. And we done it against Saturday. When it's slick and fast, we all want to see. I don't mind Everton passing it round, but when you start and it's walking pace, and you're giving it to me and I'm giving it to you, and you're giving it, and it's like this.
I understand the frustration, but like every time you have a possession, since as a kid you're being sort of brought up, but every attack you've got to finish with a shot at the cross. And that's what's frustrated the fans a lot, is when we've just misplaced a pass, a simple pass, because it's there's only a 10-yard, and we get counter-attacked on, which we are good at counter-attacking the teams. And when it happens to us, it does frustrate everyone.
It is amazing how many times though I've looked this season, and you go back and watch a goal, and you only naturally think it was only like these 4 or 5 passes, but when you go to the very beginning of it, it ends up being like 20-odd passes, because you forget about all those slow ones that are almost like setting the opposition up, to get them in the place. So
that's his thing, dicing with them, wasn't it? You know, teasing them and matador football, which is great, but
have you just made that up?
Michael, when you
just made that up, matador
that's
football.
what he's still, I think, I'm sure
I've never ever heard that expression.
Roberto, if you're watching, you can have that one for this week's press conference. But it's toying with the ball. Yeah, that's great. It's all coming up now. A nice rioja. Bobby, give us a call.
Go to Magaluf for the weekend.
Don't let me miss it. But not gonna, you know, if you're doing that kind of football, but like you just said there, Michael, at pace, people can't get to you because if you're gonna naturally go chasing the ball, especially with teams you just come and go break us down, you know. But I think with Evertonians and growing up, you want to see a couple of balls knocked in that mixer. That's what we're growing up with. Knock it up, you know. And you scored against Arsenal all those years ago. It was a ball in a mixer. We were dead and buried, and then we're back in the game, aren't we? And
2-2.
You know, that was it. That was. Yeah, give me a little stat before we carry on about this. About
yeah.
Throw your stat in.
Do you know what happened 18 years ago? 17 years ago today. I don't want to age you.
Yeah.
There you go. He knows already.
They might.
Scored against Newcastle, penalty.
Duncan left.
And it was our first home game, the end of November. That was our first home win, sorry.
First home win.
We'd already won 2 away. Nottingham Forest and... I can't remember the other one.
That was a weird day, that.
That was a weird day.
We'd won in the Cup, but and we won in the League Cup. But that was our first home win. It was live Monday Night Football, and I think everyone remembers seeing Ferguson in the director's box. And that was sort of like the beginning of the end for Peter Johnson.
Yeah, it was a strange day. No one really knew what was going on. And as a youngster, you don't really get involved in what's going on upstairs. But I just remember Duncan, you know, he's pestered Duncan because he was the captain, he had the tickets. So, and you got your family upstairs in the lounges, or my dad's outside wanting tickets for friends and family. So you're getting pestered of everyone. You're trying to concentrate in the game, but where's the tickets? You know, now I think you get them the day before the game or whatever. But at the time, it was always like match day. You get your 2 or 3 comps or whatever it was, and but you try and rob them off the foreigners and you try and get as many as you meet. You try and get as many, but then Duncan just walked past me outside and just handed. He should have given all them out for us. So I was like,
few phone calls, yeah.
I'll give everyone 1 or something. I'll give the rest to me to add. So I remember thinking, well, obviously something's.
Yeah.
Where's Duncan going? Why isn't he not? So there was. I just thought, oh, Sam, he's given me the responsibility of handing out the tickets, so I felt privileged doing that, and probably kept an extra for myself. And obviously the game happened, and the penalty, I remember going right down the middle.
Straight down the middle,
which I'd never done before. It was always Hutch in my ears, always saying go down the middle, because that's where he used to go, but he missed one in pre-season going down the middle. So I was a bit unsure what to do, but because all my plans beforehand have always gone the same way, I thought I do think I need to change it here, and if I change it by doing a little side foot, I'd be frustrated with myself. So I never took a chance and just tried to hit it high and down the middle. And I remember doing an interview with, I think, Sky afterwards. I think Hutch got man of the match or something, so me and Hutch next together, and I think my interview was a bit cocked up, I think. So I guess I needed down the middle, but didn't go down the middle, went a bit to the right, got a bit. Doing something, I want to do it perfect, it just went slightly to the right. I don't think Sky really was that bothered about it, to be honest, and I was.
And that was the end of Dunk.
I
can't remember crying the next day. Honestly, he's my hero, so.
It was a sad day. It was an important win, though.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, they were tough times in that team. But, you know, you had a lot of youngsters in that team as well. You know, yourself, Franny Jeffers, Richard Dunn, Danny Cadamartri.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what's that like? I mean, because we've got loads of youngsters in the team at the moment. I mean, what's that like, playing with having loads of youngsters, having loads of people that you've grown up with playing in the same side?
It helped us all. You know, sometimes you just get the odd 1 or 2 and then you sort of get mixed in. But it was something that we needed, and you sort of felt, well, watching the game as a fan, you know, you could do better than what was on the pitch. But you're thinking when you're going to get your opportunity, and at the time of the club, we got our opportunity through injuries, through performances of the other players, really, and we were training with the first team for a long time. And training was a step up. They had the reserves or the sort of like the second year YTS or second year pros, and then the reserves. So I only lasted with the YTSs about 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and if that. And Jimmy Gable dragged me up and said, "You're training with the reserves," and there was only a handful of like Graham Allen and players like that, Mark Quayle and Richie Townsend. There was only probably 5 or 6 of us, so we used to mix between the first team to fill up numbers, and when you went to that first team step up, the possession side of the training was hard.
Yeah, see it.
Because it was all right at your own level, or a couple of years above yourself, you could probably dictate it yourself, and then when you were up there, but what I found out was the players that weren't playing, that were the people you couldn't get the ball off. Samways, Limpar.
Oh, I used to go and watch them, the reserves, all the time. Yeah. Samways was just amazing.
I'll tell you the story soon about that, but it was difficult for being 16, 17-year-old kid trying to impress the manager. Yeah. When you got the manager telling you to do what you're doing, which has obviously got me into the first team, but then you got the experienced pros telling me to do a different thing, so you sort of mix of both. And what Jimmy liked was that when I had the ball, I had options, and I always chose the right one. And I heard him say it, and I started sticking my head going, I started thinking about my options then. Thinking am I doing the right one? I was like, Jimmy, shut up, you shouldn't have said that. Yeah. But going to, I think we played Bearsco or Southport, we used to do it every pre-season, and I think Joe had a few words to say at half-time to a few of the senior pros, and it just sort of went through one ear and out the other, and he just said, look, we're just going to play lads, we're just going to play two-touch. I'm going, what? I said, I'm a left back, I can't play two-touch. And they had Samways, like Tony Grant, Limpar, Kachelskis, ride out up front, and we just played two-touch, and then they give it to me, I'm thinking, do I take the extra touch and get bullied off the senior pros, or just do what Joe wants? And I think Joe knew what the players were doing, but the players wanted to play football the way they wanted to play football, which is right or wrongly to me, but it just showed the talent they had, and when they were ready to come on, when we used them, like Limpar was probably the best player I've probably played alongside, technically wise. I haven't seen anyone. He can do anything he wanted to do with a ball. So being around the first team with them players helped all the young kids, because they've seen the ability they had, but they weren't playing. So we knew we had to sort of match them for that, but then give extra. And when we got the opportunity to be familiarised with, as you say, Danny and Dunny and Gavin McCann at the time as well, it was nice to have a sort of face to sort of speak to in the warm-up, but the lads were sound. Dave Watson, like I'm talking about Big Dunk, he was the first one over. He was the first one you run alongside, like, and then next minute you're shouting at him because he's cocked up, and you're thinking, I shouldn't have done that. But it was just a lovely thought to be around them all.
Was it frustrating? I mean, because the saying was, as a fan, that in that spell you were there was so many good players. I mean, you think of all those players you just mentioned, and then you had like Gary Speed and Don Hutchinson and people like that, but they were never there at the same time long enough together to gel into this. And it's almost like people's fears at the moment is that we've got this great side, and it's like if we don't do something with it, or play, or we don't add to it, then it's all going to disappear. And that's what I mean, because you just mentioned all those players, and the next minute you're fighting relegation because one little thing happened, and then there's a slow spiral, and the next minute there is 5 or 6 kids in the team, and all those brilliant players have left. So was that really hard to or was that frustrating? Because at times I felt we had a great side, and then the next minute it was gone. Yeah,
it was weird. Got on paper, I remember, because I only just finished school, so you're writing your team, you think you're going to play. You reckon Chelsea and Limpar had a side, maybe I'm McCatchy Duncan Flint. You think that's decent. Yeah. But we weren't winning. Yeah. We weren't doing anything. Obviously, we won the cup, the FA Cup, but then at the time, I didn't really think what was going on. I wasn't really frustrated. I was just sort of happy to be playing.
The team,
so that didn't sort of. Yeah. I felt, Hinchcliffe was playing for England at the time, and released him to bring myself through. So that gave me a massive, Hinchcliffe was giving Pierce a run for his money for the left back spot at the time, and when Hinchcliffe was signed with me, we always used to stay behind and do crosses and corners, free kicks, and just pass the ball to each other for 20-25 minutes. And I was sort of his understudy, but he took me under his wing and helped me and give me a part. He wasn't sort of spiteful, thinking I've come to take his place, which I was. It was after it, but he had a lot of time for me, and wished me well when he moved on, and it just showed the faith that the club had in me at the time. So that's sort of and then I'm living my dream, so everything was spot on. So I wasn't really focusing on other players and other people. I suppose
that's the difference, isn't it, between being a fan and being a player? It's your job at the end of the day, isn't it?
22, because I had season ticket on the Gladys Street, and sort of YTS, and you turn up, you're training with all these players, and you wasn't in all of them South Dole, because you just sort of think, hang on, he's just threw the ball to me there, and then you think, right, football game, and football's football, you sort of get on with it, you're not really bothered who's passing us, but it's being off the pitch, being around, and that's when you are in all them all, you go, there's Gary Speed there, and for them to speak to you at the time and help you in your career and give you advice, they were all spot on, everyone were fantastic, that was always sort of good. But then, I was doing the balls or doing something to Goodison before the game, and Southall gets you on the pitch because he, for some reason, likes warming up at 11:30 in the afternoon, to keep you up with your shinnies, with your shin pads on, and I used to love it because as a fan going to Goodison, you see Southall on the pitch with with James Spear and a few other kids, other ball boys, and I love to do that. And the next minute it is me doing it. The next minute I'm getting grief because the balls aren't clean because we've been kicking them out, and then I've got to clean them up for the game and then run out and then get in the Gladys with all my mates and give them all stick. that was so I was a fan, and then giving me teammates stick as a fan point of view, and then next day going to training, being the mate again, and that was like a weird banter. I didn't know what I was I a player or was it a fan, and I was both.
It is a weird one because, as I say, going back to what's happening now, we look at this core of players and it's so exciting, and you just don't want to get too excited because there is always that, Martinez comes out saying, well, Delafay can go back to Barcelona if they put, I don't know why he's saying that. Then you've got the Euros coming up, you've got bids coming up for Stones and Rom, and Ross is playing, where you're thinking, please just add some players, and with this team could go anywhere at once, but if you don't, then it could all quickly fall away. And
I can understand all that, and that's, I think, every club now. I like that. Every club's fear of losing their best players, because the money in the game now from the bigger teams all around the world is available. So we're not the only one. But because we haven't had a good settled side for a while, we want to keep it. We want to keep it as as strong as possible. But what I've liked about this season, we found our style of play, and I think there is other players out there. Martinez knows a lot of players. I've never used Google so much in my life. So, the players he mentions,
especially when they're like 14 and he's signing them for
he knows what he's after. He knows the style of players he wants, so he won't waste time on wrong signings. He knows what style of player he wants. So if we do lose one or two, we will find another one and bring them on. But as you say, at the moment we've got probably 3 50 million pound players there, and it's a great time to be at Everton football. But then you've got to think, if these players do move, where are they going to move to and how are they going to play? And if they want to learn the game, I think we're no better club at the moment.
Oh, there's a stadium going through the spine of our team there, I'm telling you.
Well, yeah, there is. But I mean, I think while we're managed the way we are, and I don't mean from the manager's point of view, I mean the board we've got, without going into that too much, there's obviously not loads of money there, so we're always going to be in this position where we can be picked off, aren't we? It's similar, like you've just said, there's everyone. United lost Ronaldo, you know what I mean? Liverpool lost Suarez, and what the Sterling. You
just want something to show for it, don't you?
I think a lot of people weren't too impressed with the summer transfer, and I wasn't. But I still think it was a massive statement that we actually kept Ross, we kept Stones, we kept McCarthy. McCarthy was, looked like he was going to go in the summer as well, earlier on. It was a statement that we actually kept him. I can't think of many clubs who have done that in the past. They've always lost one or two. So we've got to give credit where it's due there, that situation, because we have sort of in the past done that, but every club has, as you said, like Chelsea have done it, Arsenal have done it, United, all the big clubs have done it. So it's but everyone's a selling club. Yeah, in the end of the day, but we've got a good handful of players there which we want to keep our hands on. I think that was a massive statement to keep hold of what we had at the start of the season, and we added one or two, which it's a bonus of what's happened in the past. I'm not going to rave over how good it was. It wasn't that good, but saying from the past experience of our transfer windows, it was that way. It was going up, and now we're reaping the benefits of it. Now with a steady team, we've been together for a while, so we know what we're on about.
I think if we can just add in got January coming up, if we can bring one or two in January just to freshen it up.
Where would you think we need?
We know where we want to add, don't we, Baz? Yeah. We want a goalie. Yeah, we're not gonna mess around. We know we want a goalie.
Me personally, I'd have three. There's three areas that, and I'm not saying we'd get three players, but a goalkeeper. I think we need a left side player. I know Cleverley's done great for us there. I'm thinking probably Yarmolenko here, but I know we're not going to get him. But someone maybe on the left, but I'd love another centre forward as well. But they're difficult to get hold of in January, of course they are. But I just think that I don't really want to say it, so I'm not going to say it. But I'd just like another centre forward for all eventualities, shall we say? And then I think that if we can get over these next 4 or 5 weeks doing what we'd all kind of expect us to do, the way we're playing in January, we've got some tough games, but then I tell you what, we could be right in the mix then. And then
it's been, you said it for weeks, so I forgot about the international week in November. This is the most important part, I think, of a season. We always say the Christmas period is, and that's where you sort of get, but you want momentum going into that, because a lot of these teams, they don't like the Christmas period, but a lot of them are not used to it. The good thing about our squad, we know all about it. We've done it. We've done all the year before with the new lads, so they're aware of what's going to happen. If we get momentum going in the Christmas period, you're playing home and away, it's cold, it's missing the family. They don't, and they've been getting beat. 2
games and 3 games as well.
The last thing we want to do is play Everton. But we've got to be playing like we did against Villa, and with the teams we've got ahead of us to get that momentum going into Christmas period. It's going to be massive.
Don't forget, this time last year we'd come out at the end of November, we'd won 3 games, and we were like, right, we're on this run now, and we had Hull at home and Drew. Terrible performance. Stoke. We had the QPR and the boo and the QPR. We got hammered at Southampton. We then lost the Newcastle. Then we lost the Hull. And there was 6 or 7 games had gone by. We'd had 1 win, and from being in a position where we were 9th or whatever, all of a sudden we were 13th and 14th. So if we, like you just said, if we can keep this momentum going now, we could hit that at the right time, and then no one will fancy playing Everton.
If you look at the squad going back to the window in January, and you'd obviously expect a goalkeeper and a striker are hard to find. You can spend a lot of money on good players, good strikers, but sometimes the league doesn't agree with them. Look at Chelsea and Man United. I think I found that out with Falco spending a lot of money, and we don't want to be going that route. And I think the club have got their eyes on players, but whether they're ready to walk it straight into the team now is debatable.
A long striker,
we've got players there, who actually have done a job. Going back to the window with Naismith, could have gone for £8 million. Nice bit of business.
We haven't even spoken about this. He's not even looking, is he?
It's a nice bit of business. Again, he started off with a bit of stick from the fans, probably last season, and then, but he's the one who put the shift in, and he puts a work rate in, and against certain teams and certain setups, he's very effective, and he's just got to wait when they got the opportunity to do something, and he hasn't come out and moaned. He's been a good professional. He got his opportunity against Chelsea, he couldn't do any more, but he's back on the bench again.
Yeah. And there are a couple of players, aren't there? There's the likes of him, there's the likes of McGeady, Morales. You could give them up and bring in better play, or you know, you could get rid of someone like Morales and bring in someone that you really need, like a centre forward or whatever.
But you've got to understand, if you get these run of games, the suspensions come in, injuries, niggles, knocks. Can Delafeu play every game, every week? The standard he is at the moment. No, so you want someone that's similar level to walk straight in the team. So there's not a massive disruption in the team, and that's where Morelos will do. Whether he's happy about being on the bench, but he can't move at the moment because what's happening in front of him, the performances, he knows. Look in the mirror, he goes, well, you know, fair enough. It's when we're getting beat or when we're not playing well, he's on the bench. That's probably where he's getting frustrated. But I think, you know, the squad is strong and it's in a good place at the moment. It's just when we do get these suspensions and the niggly little injuries, the players that are going to come in, we want them to be on top of the game, and and that's, you know, January transfer window is probably all about.
Let me ask you just quickly about Joel, because I know that obviously there was Howard's form wasn't great going into the last cup game. Norwich and Joel played really bad. He had a really good game and obviously saved the penalties and got us through. And then he's back out the team again on the Saturday. As a pro, an ex-pro, I'm probably have an era where if you got in and done the business, you kept the share for the next week.
I was a bit disappointed the way it happened, because it's happened twice to him now. When he got his opportunity last time, and Tim walked straight back in the team, but he's an understudy, and if it, you know, Tim hasn't been, you know, high in mice, but you know, he's got his positives, but he's an understudy, Joel, and he's come in, done a job, and that's what he's getting paid for. That's what his job is. You know, as soon as Leighton gets fit, he's back in the team. Galloway's his understudy. He's his learning curve. He's had his minutes. He's had a lot more minutes than probably what he thought he was going to have in his career, and he's took him at both hands. He's grabbed it and he's done really well. So you know, he should be really pleased with what he's done and how he's handled it. And you can see his confidence. And going forward, I think he was a little bit steady. He wanted to do his job, but now he's going forward. Into the Villa game, he's in the box, could have tapped it into the Barkley, you know. And Morelos blocked a shot for him, so that would have been good sticking and changing him for his goal. But so that's brought him on 3 years to have the experience what he's done. But Leighton's going to come back in, and I don't think any fans will be moaning when Leighton walks back in. So it's the same situation, and you know, it's the confidence that, you know, the manager's got for Howard, if we have or not. But you know, I think that just gives Tim that bit of a bit more confidence coming to the team, that he knows if I'm fit, I'm the senior goalkeeper, I'm the number one, and you know, Joel's ready there when if I do slip up or get injured, you know, that's there. Before
we finish, John Stones, I mean, you know, you started all this lark when you were at the back, you know, coming out with the ball and all that.
And then getting off.
We'll say that. You know, you run out of words to describe. You know, he's so good. I mean, even on Saturday, he's nutmegging players who were supposed to be great.
It was only Jack
Grealish. You know, but he's starting attack. He's starting attacks. He's, you know, he's so. We've seen him last week for England, just best player on the park. I mean,
but he doesn't get dirty, does he? He doesn't get a sweat. But like that, John's fantastic talent, and it's sort of, yes, the Villa game. You can talk it like he started the attacks up and stuff. But what I liked about a couple of, it's not discrediting John. I'm sick of talking of him. I want to talk about Lukaku scored, and I want to talk about Kona scored, and the last 3 or 4 games before him, that started to creep in. You forgot about John a little bit, but then you can't when he pulls performances off like that against Villa. He's got to be spoke about. He's so calm and sure, and that's what I like going away with England. And I've mentioned a few times in the piece in the Echo, is like, yes, go to England because you're training with different style of coaches and different style of players, and you'll be picking up bits and bobs to bring, and as long as you bring the good bits,
too much.
You pick up the good bits, because you're going to be seeing, Ross are going to be seeing certain things that other players are going to be doing. I'll bring that in, they bring it to the club, and then that's what happened against Villa. They brought it, and sometimes after the international games they were a bit slow and a bit boring game, but that was like just the perfect game where they've gone away from international duty, got more experience, picked up a few more little ideas, and they brought it to the table and brought it to our club and produced it.
Yeah.
And you know, John's he can be anything he wants to be at the moment. He's a Foden style.
He can be anything.
He's a Foden style defender, and you know, confident and short on the ball, and you know, no matter if he has a bad pass, he's still got that hunger to ask for the ball again, which not many players have, and which that's what I really like about him.
At least if Barca buy him, we can swap him for Messi or something.
Yeah, easily, yeah. Well, to be fair, you know,
well.
I just think him and Foon's Mori are playing brilliant, and I don't even know if I want Jags back now, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, that's what we want. You know, that's what you want. You don't want it to be easy. And Martinez is he's the manager, and we're giving him, the players are giving him problems. You know, and the good problems. You know, and you know, Rory's come in. You know, it does look a lot more balanced. I do like a left-sided centre half being a left-footed. I do like that. And again, he's confident on the ball. He wants the ball.
Do you know what it was really? What you see with some defenders, they just tap it out to play, don't they? You know, and you get caught out with the throwing 3 or 4 times on Saturday when he's chasing back, and you think he can tap it out. Just leathers it into the stand, and what it does is it allows you to get back. Just clever little.
And I also,
because you've got the ball boys nowadays that you know, you're playing away from home, you just tapped it out. The ball boys, you're stuck out of position. The manager going, what are you doing?
Just put it in the stand. And
I also think he makes us a little bit more solid on defending set pieces as well. I think that's
attacking. He's actually. I know he hasn't got anywhere near scoring. No, but
we're not going to score off set pieces.
You know what? He's had 2 headers that have been nowhere, but he's actually headed our corners. That's good enough for me. Clap them for that.
That's enough for Baz, fair enough. Right. Big thanks for Michael Ball for joining on today's show. Don't forget, leave your comments below. Tell us everything about the Aston Villa game. Don't forget to subscribe. Find us on Twitter. It is @Toffee TV1, and we'll catch you next time.